Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Here we are again. Okay. Today I put a white shirt on for you and some pants, so I gotta have a ho ho ho. Good morning. This is my granddaughter, right there. And so what are we going to talk about this morning? I'm watching Israel going into the Gaza, and I posted on my website there the numbers. There's 7 million people in Israel, 7.5, let's say. And I try to push those numbers around. 7.5 million people. Take New York City, and or Los Angeles, and then do the whole greater surrounding area, or Seattle or Chicago, anywhere you want to go, and not just the downtown city of any of those, but in the suburbs, towns. There's 10, 20 towns, and interstates and loops and downtown proper, but you can go 20, 30 miles in every direction on every one of those cities, and you'll get to 7 million people. 7.5 is a hell of a lot of people, and in a tightly small area. Probably as dense. The density, they said, in the West Bank there with the Palestinians is as dense as any population on Earth. That sounds pretty preposterous, but it's probably not. It's probably the truth. And I'm thinking Israel's has similar. So 3.5 million troops they can put on the ground. And that's through their involvement with the United States and Europe and post-World War II, and they, I don't know the exact history on how the Jews became, I know it's after World War II and a terrible Holocaust and Hitler and the way we say it in the United States, we gave them a homeland to live on. We were the victors of the free world in the war, along with Russia on the other side against Hitler. And now the Jews, of course, the Jews have always had a long-standing relationship in the United States and throughout Europe and Russia, and I don't know where they're at in the rest of the world, but so that's just that big little war over there. Well, that big little war has got serious potential. Then I'm looking at the Russian, they put that plane down and killed 300 civilians. Just, put them in Russia and probably half of the Ukraine there. If, some of them want to be democracy, European Union, and separatists and the loyalists to the Russian side there. So they're having a civil war, and we're watching all that and sending our advisors, and we're getting to see, we're getting the counts in. Gaza, a few hundred killed, including 40% children. They said 40% of the population of the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, if I'm understanding the geography correct there, are under 14 years old. And they got tunnels going everywhere to try to bomb. Now they're fighting these 7 million Jews who have 3.5 million troops out of the 7 million. That's hard to believe, but that's what the numbers they're putting up. and then along with all their aircraft and ships and missiles and manpower, everybody, every man or woman, girl and boy that turns 18 is obligated to become military. Obviously, because of the conflict of the war against. Now, this stuff gets biblical because that's what makes this really difficult. Of these forces colliding, and of course the Jews are not going to allow. They went through Hitler, and they've had a whole big thing about having been the ones that killed Christ. But then before that, they're the originators of the Holy Bible with Moses, and their early writers there. I don't know who all they were, but they do the thing with Noah and Abraham and all that stuff. So what effect does this have on the world? It has a tremendous effect on this world. Russia as a whole is non-believing, and Europe is believing, European Union. So you got the believers, the European Union, in Ukraine, and half of Ukraine, and the Russians holding on and perfectly comfortable in their non-belief, as non-Christian beliefs. And so there's enormous effects here. And the Palestinians, the Abraham's brothers or wives, had one became the Islamic Muslim faith, the other became the Christian Western faith, and those two forces are just colliding. And I don't know that any of this or how much of this would be occurring if it weren't for the oil companies and the economic system of the European Union and the United States. And let's see what we got here. So the whole thing is just a real difficult thing to answer. Morning, Tom. I am assuming I need a 2-inch ball. Let me know if it is different. Well, I got a guy coming to get a trailer. I'll talk back. I'll go to him real quick here. I don't have on my remote, or I'd shut that off. I'll put 1 and 3 QUAR quarter, I think. And I'll send that. And if he answers anymore, I'm just going to turn this thing off while I'm recording here. And sorry about that. So to think that this is not biblical and to think it's not faith-based, so when people say, and the Muslims, if they say it, this is a holy war, well, it's a holy war, I mean, it's an economic war. And the importance to all of us, it just can't be spoken. It's so big. I mean, this little 7 million, 7 million we just talked about for Israel, that's a pittance for, we're 7 billion, which would be 1,000 of those 7 millions. 7 millions, no more than that. I think 1,000 of those would just be 7 billion. Yeah, that's what we are, 7 billion. So that's if I'm seeing the numbers right. I'm pretty good at math, and I'm kind of proud of that. Einstein said if you can't do the math, and that's why I put the math up. If you can't do the math, you can't grasp the goings on of the world and the importance of the calendars and the elements and even the climate and population and food and what the earth can sustain. You know, they'll tell you, oh, drive across Montana or Canada and you'll see earth galore. You'll see earth galore, but how much, you know, in other words, I guess we could stand shoulder to shoulder somewhere in the whole universe, every direction, but and get to 100 times the population we have now. But we still got to eat and breathe and live. You know, how many robins can inhabit an area, or rabbits, and sustain themselves. And of course, we went artificial with that in our farming and harvesting. But the numbers are important. And so why is Tom Bunnell, little Detroit Lakes dumb guy, so concerned with that? I guess it's my filming and my weight. It's my carbohydrate sugar thing that I beat to death is all tied directly into this population growth and the wars and the Christianity and the Muslim and the faith in gods, all the way back to the pyramids and beyond and before and after, and the Roman Empire and the Roman Catholic Church, and is all everything is tied into these stimulants, and then that's what we're doing, and so it's like the sky is falling, and the little Toy Story there, or nursery rhyme, and then nobody would believe her or something. That's a different story, but the sky is falling, and all these things are coming to a head. The biblical people think it's prophecy, and they just need to keep doing what they're doing and keep spreading the word and trying to convert Christianity. But it's the business people that are driving this right into the ground with their wealth and investments and their more. And that's all stimulant driven, and 100% stimulant driven. Why do we have to have World War III? And why do hundreds of millions of people have to die? And just destroying the air and the water and the everything about the planet Earth and our life. Life is too magnificent and too important and too good for every individual there is, child and old and newborn and unborn and not yet conceived. So to just do nothing when I got something, and the something I got, you know, sure, it's got to do with being fat. You know, I've lost 80 pounds, I'll lose another 100. It's got to do with diabetes and definite cause of diabetes, sugars and starches and carbohydrates. Alzheimer's 3, they're calling diabetes 3 for Alzheimer's. Mental disease, insanity. The whole war, I've said again and again and again, it's just all insanity. You don't do that. Just load up ships and airplanes and bombs and just go blow the living hell out of everybody. The only reason that's done is the power takeover, kill. They've taken our basic instincts, which when you stimulate basic instincts, you just ask O.J. Simpson about stimulated instincts. You know, the guy's so insulted he can't live with a divorce and his children being raised different than he and her in their ideal world. This guy's cocaine, this guy's speed and amphetamines and methamphetamines for years and years and years. They say that blocks of cocaine, like $20,000 block, you just shave off a bunch of that powder, you know, and pills in gallon jars. Now that's not too exaggerated. As far as the availability and the group that he circled in. Well, he looked like the Hertz Rent-A-Car guy and the American Ideal. You know, he just well been Bill Cosby or something. Well, Bill Cosby's not a speed freak. You know, he's the speed that we all on, coffee and, you know, the sugars and stuff, but he's not a cocaine, meth, and amphetamine addict. So Bill Cosby's real. OJ's the next dimension of exaggerates. So they become violent and headstrong and the kings and the greatest of all. And they got all done with that trial. And he said, now we'll raise those children like we intended. Well, she's gone. He cuts her head off and her boyfriend and now walks free. And however that could occur in our courts of law. And of course, whenever you say something in the court courtroom attorney saying, "Oh yeah, look at him now." Well, they got him, yeah, but that doesn't change the atrocity of cutting him loose in all those years. But that's stimulant driven. There's tens of thousands and millions of incidents in the amphetamine, methamphetamine, cocaine world, and in those exaggerates. And I bring them up so that we can take a look at these other atrocities that are not cocaine related and not amphetamine and methamphetamine related, that are related to alcohol, powerful stimulant drug, caffeine, powerful stimulant drug, sugar and hybrid carbohydrates, powerful stimulant drugs. And that's where this comes down. So for every OJ, there's 1,000 more just sugar and caffeine and nicotine and alcohol. I turned that off. I was going to see how many minutes I am. I don't know. I'm about 15 now or something like that. So I get to talk for a little bit more here. Yesterday I put it on high definition when I uploaded this to YouTube, and it took 12 hours. It actually took about 15 hours. And if I don't go high definition, just do the 640 or 640, I think 480, then it uploads in an hour or two. So my camera's working good, my microphone's working good. How much response we get from this and how much is I don't know if it's not posterity, whatever they call that, for the future or something. I would like it to be grasped now. Just like Katie Couric and her bunch there, they want the world to know about obesity and diabetes being directly related to the sugar additives in our food. They're not really fully aware when they're saying you eat good fruits and vegetables along with your meats and whatnot, that they're recommending this hybrid thing. See, they're not on to this thing that I'm on to. So they want, but theirs hasn't taken off. It's going to come out in Blu-ray DVDs in September, so that's just a little over a month away. And then the whole United States will get to see the whole world. The way it had been is just a theater, and that was a promotion thing. They went through Sundance and got some awards, and so this solidarity movement and the 10-day challenge, and they're just all biding their time now, and assuming that when this thing rolls, the Blu-ray DVDs, so everybody for $19.95 or something, or rent it for $1.99 or 99 cents or something, and download it and your Apple TV or whatever, and that they're going to get a buzz going. Hey, yeah, this sugar, yeah, and of course the food industries. But what they're tapping on, and the beauty in this is they've accomplished are accomplishing a real truth and a real reality of just enormous importance. They say in $1 trillion, and when they push this thing into the numbers thing, $1 trillion, it costs us $1 trillion to the United States annually on direct related costs from the sugar overdosing and carbohydrate overdosing. And then you got this thing I got right here, this thing about the war, and they can't help but get to that because it's right there. It's just right there. You know, you lift your eyes from this, and yeah, this sugar and diabetes and Alzheimer's and mental, and just goes on and on and on. And now, you mean it's because it's a stimulant drug, it's similar to cocaine and methamphetamine and amphetamines, and we were prescribing methamphetamines or Adderall to our kids by the millions. We think it's amphetamine is not a big deal. So how in the world could we think coffee is a big deal or sugar or starch in the world of stimulants? We just don't know. It hasn't been known. This is an actual true discovery. And I stumbled onto this. I was shocked. When I stumbled on basically just the sugar aspects, I thought natural sugars were not like refined sugar. I thought the bag of sugar, C&H cane sugar, or the other sugar from the sugar beets like we have from Minnesota here and North Dakota, trillions of trainloads, and I don't know if it's trillions of trainloads, but it's a hell of a lot of sugar. I always knew processed sugar I actually worked at the beet plant when they were making that stuff, and they had coal trains come in. You know, I don't know, 100 cars of coal, burning huge furnaces. You know, 100-foot square for the heat to separate the stuff and process it and make it into granulated sugar. And so I've known forever that's a drug, that's a poison. But when it come time for the seeds, you know, wheat, for instance, I thought dumplings. You know, you're going to have a good diet and do okay. Dumplings is wheat, and you know, flour, and eggs. You know, you put a little bit of salt or none, it doesn't matter. It'd be in the broth anyway, and then cook them with nothing else, just those two ingredients, into chicken noodles or chicken and dumplings or. But I'm thinking there's nature, you know, and they say, well, it hits your stomach, it just goes right straight to your bloodstream, just exactly like refined sugar. And I thought, well, that's stupid, it can't be. But then I said, okay, this because it's hybrid and concentrated, and in our natural world, in our natural diet, those grains and wheat and seeds, there are nature's perfect foods. But we've hybrid. And then I looked at the hybrid potatoes and the hybrid corn and then the hybrid apples and oranges and then the availability and the farming and the agriculture thing, and there it is. It's because of the concentrations. And the best example I can give of that is if you take an orange, okay, an orange has alcohol in it. And I'm talking whether it's a natural orange or these hybrid oranges, just an orange for now. Citrus fruit has alcohol, but it's very, you know, you eat that orange and you've had not even I think probably a tenth of a drop of alcohol. I mean, it's just like a little wisp of nothing of alcohol in that orange, but it's still alcohol. Now you take that little wisp and concentrate it and concentrate it and concentrate it until you have 1 ounce of alcohol. You know, it'd have to have maybe a truckload of oranges to make that one whole big truckload. I mean, a semi-load of oranges, and you'd have to eat all them oranges in one sitting or something, which is a total, you know, fabrication impossibility. But just to get you to an example of 1 ounce of alcohol, but that 1 ounce of alcohol is actually alcohol. It's hugely powerful drug. Okay, so that's what we're doing with the wheat. And that's what we're doing with the oranges and the apples in all of our food, in our breakfast toast, in our hamburger and hot dog, you know, and the bun and the meat and the apple pie and cereal, and it just goes on and on and on, French fries and every single thing in the food chain that we're eating in the world of. So it's because of the concentrations. It's like the ounce of alcohol that we were able to get out of all them oranges. And we're getting that on an hourly basis and a day-to-day basis. We don't got to have a shipload of wheat to do that. We've already hybrid that wheat and then brought the availability. And then the concentrations are just raw, pure sugar and pure carbohydrate. A real potato and a real corn is just little gnarly stuff full of enzymes and nutrients and fiber and all that good minerals, and I mean it's just all kinds of stuff that's just good food and trace amounts of carbohydrate in there. So you eat a bunch of that, it's good food in small amount. But the way we hybrid it to just, it's like a potato, it's just like 99% carbohydrate, sugar. So is corn. And so is an apple, and it just goes on and on forever. Grapes and barley and green beans, I mean the lentils, and it's just forever and ever. And that's what we live on constantly. So just like the 1 ounce of alcohol, now let's have 2 and let's have 3, we're really affected. And that's how we are with our sugar, you know, the little baby. Now, the baby gets a real heavy dose of sugar for its first birth and months, and probably in the womb, the way the food thing works there with the placenta and all that, umbilical cord. Okay, now the baby's in mother's arms and nursing on mother's breast and having really powerful lactose sugar and fat both, you know, to get its go. And that's what the calf is getting from cow's milk, and the deer from deer's milk, and I guess the whale from whale's milk. And it gets them going real good. And as they mature and get up into the months and years, depending on the species, they get into the natural diet that the adults eat in the adolescence. But in our case, as humans, and this whole food chain thing that we've done with the farming and the agriculture and the high breeding, just from the very beginning, we switch them over to pablum, which is ground up grains, and milk, and then we're giving them bananas. You know, bananas were not available. So I can go out into these woods right here. We got lots of woods here. We got an Indian reservation and a national refuge, and you can actually go like 10 miles and 15 and 20 without crossing a road. Maybe there'll be a little logging road through there, probably not. And lakes all out in there, and go to eating like the people that lived here. And you're going to get hungry. So let's say there's a whole group of you, 25, 50 kids and grandparents and all related, and you're a tribe, you're a group of people. And say you're a white group of people, or a Native American group of people, or a black group of people, or Asian, or Mexican, or any of the different groups. And now this within there, you know, you're going to be building fires and making shelter, and you're going to get food, and you're going to see the eagles down grabbing fish, and you're going to see the robin eating worms and bugs, and because now we're going to have to start all over again here, because we've been, you know, going to the grocery store getting our food. And so we're going to start eating out there. So we're going to be eating everything, and grubs and worms and fish, and we can get some eggs. We'll see a coon get some eggs from a duck or something, and we'll learn, and the amount of carbohydrates that we consume. You know, we could spend months out here. We could spend years out here. We could spend decades. We could spend an eternity out here, if man didn't come in and manufacture this stuff. Of course, we think man's manufacturing all this stuff is such a great thing, such a good thing. Well, you could put that on it if it wasn't destroying the whole entire earth, if it wasn't destroying the whole population, if we weren't, our societies and cultures are just tied up into these religions and distorted sexualities and just mental illness and disease, and you know, we're not these perfect creatures by a long shot. And it's all the stimulant, it's all stimulant driven. So there's the same song I sing every single day. And just another version. I'm going to cut it off, process it, and post it. I think it's a Sunday the 20th or something like that. And I thank you. I hope you like my new attire now. You know. Ah!